Hi, Angela. Oh, Jesus. That sounds really bad. I hope it wasn't because you were trying to eat baked fish bones like I have been. I've been known to be a terrible role model for everyone. Um, which is partially what we're going to discuss here tonight, isn't it? I am armed with some red lentils, and I have a lot of tomatoes that are going really soft. They're like very, very soft. I've already taken the core out because I went to compost yesterday, so I took all the core out because I won't be using the cores. But they're getting very soft. I actually have like 6 tomatoes that I need to cook off tonight. So I'm going to be making some oniony, tomatoey red lentils. And then I also have some green beans that are, they just never looked good when I bought them. They're like kind of, they're turning brown now, but they looked more like this, like somebody etched on it with a pencil. So, hi Fred. And we're gonna be cooking these off, so. And Fred is here. Ta-da! Okay, so as you can see in the title, want to discuss a lot of the comments that showed up and have been showing up truthfully across all of my videos. At first on Delicious videos, they were directed at Erin, and then when I started my live streams and started showing my interactions and the way that I interact with Erin in everyday life, it started being directed at me. So from both sides of the story, it seems like people are very disgruntled, discouraged, and disillusioned by how Erin and I interact, and it has been said by very, very many individuals that we have a toxic and codependent relationship, especially in the comments section on last night's stream. So I mostly just want to learn if any of those commenters are here tonight, or if you just have opinions on the matter. Doesn't matter who you are.
What did we do in last night's stream?
We cooked the hop pot, and then people.
What did we do?
Well, because like you were butting into the stream a lot, and so I just did that thing where I'm like, butt off, Erin, and then you did your annoying thing where you just annoy me for no good reason, but that's just the way we interact, and people interpreted that as, I guess, toxic and codependent behavior. But honestly, guys, I just want to know, first off, what is a codependent and toxic relationship to you? And specifically, what behaviors do you see that you've observed in these lives? Would you qualify as such? Because, I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, Erin and I don't have like a picture perfect relationship. We obviously have a lot of conflict, issues. I mean, I have my own issues just with the fact that I'm in a relationship with someone who's not asexual, and I identify as more asexual. That's already like a barrier to being on the same page in a lot of ways. But beyond that, I mean, I'm sure you've understood and lived through yourself that like in any relationship, whether or not it's romantic, sexual, platonic, or even familial, any relationship comes with it their own set of baggages, and everybody carries their own burdens and traumas, and obviously those play out when you're interacting with someone, because every time you interact with someone, the other person is kind of like a mirror and reflection of yourself. So I'm not gonna sit here and say y'all are all wrong, because I don't think you're wrong. It's very possible that we have toxic traits and maybe codependent traits, but I think in the grand scheme of things, from my point of view, Erin and I's relationship are not that toxic. Maybe a little bit toxic, you know? But just like a slightly burnt caramelized onion. The right amount of cancer. Hi, California. Hi, Brittany. I just, oh, I'm reading through comments. Lots of comments. I just feel like Erin and I have a very direct way of communicating where I can come across as very bitchy and commanding, and sometimes I am a little bit of a bully to him. And he takes it in stride, but he also communicates with me in such a way that I feel like is I would say he's not toxic. I would say that he's very immature sometimes. He throws around a lot of like middle school humor and kind of like just like dumb comedy that doesn't necessarily make you laugh and just annoys you. You know how like middle school boys flirt by throwing shit at your head, like that kind of behavior. But he's a 31-year-old man now, so I just feel like it's a very interesting dynamic, and maybe most people don't really show it to other people, but we definitely have more of this dynamic than maybe other couples do, and I'm more likely to show all aspects of how I behave in a public realm such as this one. So I am maybe very blunt and maybe too honest, and I think that comes across as rude, which it is. But there is, I think, a context for the rudeness, so Stephanie says, I think after 10 years together, the fact that you guys communicate at all is amazing. I think it is taking a lot of work. Like just today, we were cleaning the house, and Aaron took such proactivity on sweeping the entire apartment and then mopping the entire apartment. And this happened after like last week or a couple of weeks ago, where I was like, I think we need to buy a mop, because I had been like wiping the floors with my hands and it took too long. And I was like, and I think it would be really great if you could take a lead on cleaning around the house without me assigning tasks to both of us. And I think, I mean, just based on today, which is not very scientific, it's just one instance, I thought that communication was pretty successful, and it took the burden off of me a lot. I don't know how tired he is, but he seems to be okay with that. And, like, I thanked him for cleaning, and I hope that he feels accomplished for cleaning the entire apartment. And I just feel like Rio Grande says, I'd assume that Aaron is autistic, and being autistic, his communication just seems direct while teasing. And he hasn't been diagnosed, but Aaron has always suspected that he might be on the spectrum somewhat. So I'm not a doctor, obviously, so I can't confirm or deny, but it is a possibility. Tess is doing great. She's celebrating her wedding anniversary today. But I'm not sure if there are new episodes of Slightly Kosher coming out. And there might be another season, but I truly don't know. We've been getting a lot of new freelancing talent to record videos for us, so. Yes, Stephanie, I agree. I think Aaron and I definitely have an old couple relationship where we're just like openly grouchy with each other, but there is a deep degree of tolerance and understanding that, like, no matter how much we fight, we'll still be friends at the end of the day. And that leads us to openly disagree with each other and argue with each other much more frequently and much more abrasively, just because I think we started taking for granted how deep the understanding and the bond goes. So yeah. And true, men or women are trained to think differently, and the baggage that we have from my childhood is hard to get along with the opposite sex 24/7. I totally agree. I mean, gender is a construct, but we have been raised under this construct of gender, and I do feel like a lot of behaviors that I see from men are behaviors that make it really difficult for a lot of my women friends to, like, communicate to the degree that we want to communicate it. So, not to overgeneralize and say that this applies to all men and all women, and then we get into the thorny issues of inclusivity and who's what, but, like, I do feel like we have been socialized to a degree into these roles, and these roles are making communication that much more difficult to do successfully. But you know, like this, I'm fine with reading these comments because I obviously put my life out here for people to like judge and whatnot. So I basically sign myself up for these comments, which I understand the dynamics of our internet culture nowadays is everybody has something to say, which is fine. But, you know, there gets to be a point where you get so many comments and you think, well, so many people think this way, so it must be true to some degree, right? So I figured I'd just talk about it and then we could all learn what other people think makes a toxic relationship and what makes a codependent relationship. So did I mock mental health? I didn't need to. I just feel like I get triggered by Aaron, but I'm so used to getting triggered by Aaron. It's not really that much of a trigger. It's just like, oh, he's doing his thing again. Stare into the camera so that you guys know that I'm realizing he's doing his thing again. But I just feel like, yeah, Christina, exactly. Daily interactions with your partner, there are so many nuances that we don't see into each other's lives. Like when I used to have fights with my mom, you know, I would do that adolescent teenager thing where I'm like, well, so-and-so's mom doesn't behave this way. And, you know, like eventually as I get older, you would realize that you don't really see other people interacting with their families, and you don't really see that side of what that looks like in private. And so I think a lot of it is we have all of these media depictions of what a perfect relationship is and what a healthy one is. And we have all these ideas of what not to tolerate. And especially in the era of Me Too and gender dynamics and power dynamics coming out into the forefront and people discussing like what gaslighting is and you know, what consent is, that we've grown very sensitive to what it means to have equal standing and healthy communication. But like, I don't even know if we've been modeled what healthy communication really looks like in real life. We always have this idea of what something could be. Like, communism could be fucking great if we could actually put it into practice, which we can't. Like, history has shown us that we can't make communism work because people are shitholes. So it's one thing to have a good thing in theory, and it's another to actually put it into practice. And putting an idealistic relationship into practice takes a lot of work, and not all of that work is going to look perfect. So yes, Aaron does like to provoke. I think it's his way of getting attention. I mean, I think we all grew up with different experiences and whatever you want to call it, trauma and whatnot. I just feel like trauma is such a heavy word to use, but I guess it is if it molds us. And you know, like, that's just what we do. Like, after we've gone through our individual experiences, we've learned what kind of communication will get us the attention and the results and the care that we need. And some people have healthier ways of getting that attention, and other people rely on what worked for them in the time and never grew out of it, I guess. This is something that I'm also guilty of, just behaviors that I've held on to from my past traumas and experiences, if you will. mean, I'm taking everyone who's participating in this discussion in good faith, and I don't think anyone is intending to attack anyone, so I would encourage us to be a little less critical of comments that might sound really judgy, because I've basically opened up a can of worms by focusing part of this live today on a very thorny issue that is not really discussed with real people and real life examples. So I'm fine discussing everything, and I'm fine being a not perfect human being, and if I'm problematic, probably have some problematic things with me, and that's fine. And I feel like talking through what's problematic is the only way to actually walk away from continuing that behavior. So, thanks to everyone who's participating in the chats. I have a lot of onions. And a lot of tomatoes. I'm going to start slicing the tomatoes and just start cooking them so that they break down in the pot. But maybe I should add some onions first. Okay. Oil and onions. I'm gonna make some lentils first. Well, like, people want their idea of who we are, right? Because you only got to see the selected moments of who we are, and then you started filling in the blanks in your own mind of who we are. And the moment that we present you with other sides of ourselves that are contradictory or not in line with your imagined versions of us, it becomes disillusioning, it becomes disappointing, and I get that, but like, unfortunately, perfect people don't really exist. I mean, maybe some perfect people exist, but I'm certainly not one of them. And obviously, if you want to preserve your ideal version of who June is and who Erin is, then don't watch any more of these lives, honestly. But I feel like it's important to break down the illusion of perfect people. Nobody is perfect. I haven't met any perfect people yet, and if I met anyone who I think is perfect, I probably haven't hung out with them enough yet. I don't think it's a reason to give up on people the moment you find that they're not perfect. I think you just gotta know if you want to deal with that version of imperfection. And if it's not for you, then it's not for you. So, like, you know, a lot of people wrote to me yesterday when I got that very random hate message on Instagram, and they were like, don't listen to it, you know, if they don't like you, then they should just stop following you, which I think is a very valid comment. And also what's really interesting is that account was pretty fake, because it was 0 following and 0 followers, so they pretty much just created that account probably to send me that message, which makes me wonder who the real person is. But you know, you don't have to watch me. There are millions of other people to watch on the internet. I think a lot of people want to appease their viewers because their livelihoods and their public reputation, which leads to their livelihoods, depends on those public perception. And I guess now I have the privilege to not need that public perception to be on my side. So I'm just kind of like, whatever, let's do shit that people might not like. So whatever. Could come back to bite me, but we're not going to think far ahead. Life is too short. I'm just caramelizing some onions with a little bit of oil. I'm gonna throw in some salt, a little bit of pepper, your basic shit. It's not gonna be very exciting, guys. Cooking is easy when you don't give a fuck. Everything can be easy when you don't give a fuck. I don't know how I am, and I don't know how this is affecting me. I don't think it is affecting me, but I am the kind of person who feels the aftershock much later after the event is over. I think when I saw the hate message on Instagram come through the DMs yesterday, I was out. I was in Astoria taking a walk, and honestly, it didn't make me feel good, but it didn't like really punch me. But I did start like just breaking down, and I started crying on the street. Not because of that message, but because of everything that it embodied, because it had said things like, you know, if you don't like America, go back to your country. And it had said things like, I don't know why Aaron stays with you. The way you treat him is whatever. And it just touched on so many aspects of so many different kinds of criticism that I've gotten, that it was so perfectly packaged into one feedback that I was just like, oh shit, maybe I but like the only part of it that really made me want to cry was the part at the end where it was talking about how badly I treat Aaron, which is probably because I think that is the most valid part of that criticism, because I do treat Aaron pretty shittily sometimes. So, like I said before, hate comments don't really get to me unless I think that they're valid. So, and I'm just trying to say to myself, like, we can't all be good people all the time. Like, we can just be people who do good things and bad shit sometimes. And it's kind of like the vision that we have of sustaining and possessing happiness. It really just doesn't work like that in my point of view. I think you can have it for a period of time, and then you have to be okay with not having it. So, I can't be a good person all the time. It's fucking exhausting to be good all the time. June, do you feel like you need to stay in a relationship because you've already put so much into it? I mean, to a certain degree, it's always painful to like let go of things and to end chapters, but I don't think that's the way I've been thinking about it. It's because our end goals is not marriage, and our end goals is not kids, and we're actually pretty anti the institution of marriage just for getting married. Like, we're okay with marrying people if it yields you legal status and economic security and whatnot, but because we're not like traditionally oriented in that way, it's not really like, oh, I've invested so much time and care and effort into making this relationship work and it's not paying off and I don't want to leave it. It's not like that for me. It is just, how do I say? I think anytime I have to say goodbye to something, it's very painful. Like, even if it's just like a damaged utensil, you know, like this. I don't want to say goodbye to it. I feel like a lot of people might like be like, oh, I broke a tine off this fork, let's just throw it away. And I'm like, but no, I love it so much. Like, I've had so many good memories of cooking with, I'm lying, I haven't had that many good memories of cooking with it, but I do love it. I do think it's quirky and useful and special to me, that even if it's broken, I want to keep it, you know? So that's more of the way I think about things. It's not that like, what am I getting out of this? It's more of like, man, I really don't want to have to say goodbye to this chapter, this narrative, if that makes sense. I'm not really seeing what Jenny's saying, but don't be too mean to her, you guys. What'd she say? I feel like everyone's critiques are valid because I asked for them. So I welcome them. And thank you for even participating in this very hard to discuss topic with total strangers who might think the worst of you for saying something. Yeah, I totally agree. After a year stuck in solitude, there are bound to be many negative ponderings, Stephanie says. And that's absolutely true. I think this past year has been, like, initially very detrimental to my relationship because I not only had to stay in one place with one person for a year and a half now, I've had to handle working from home in such a confined environment and having to record videos in a place that's not meant for video recording, and to have to subject my partner in such a tiny space to the constant demands of having a mimicry of a studio space that's no sounds, no interrupting my shots, no nothing, and it's already like so limited. That obviously creates a lot of conflict and angst and not good feelings. And so I think for what it is, we've both done a great job of trying to navigate it, and if anything, I feel like out of the two of us, I've been more the aggressor. But that just means that, like, if we can actually take the time to digest those conflicts and talk about it, that we might be able to grow as people and as communicators. So just because we found out things that we don't tolerate from each other or can't choose to tolerate any longer from each other doesn't mean that we're bad people or that our relationship is broken. It just means that we've kind of broken through another layer of difficulty that we have to now navigate and figure out how to solve if we want to continue solving it. Oh my God, Coco, that's so sweet. Truly listening and kindness is really hard. It's so hard to do. It's not as easy as we make it seem. I think you just type out my name with the @ sign and it should highlight for you. Welcome, Naomi. Yikes, I think I need to sharpen my knife again. Hi, Fred. Making some tomato lentils, and I'm gonna stir fry some string beans. I'm just a person, Naomi. It's not that special. Sometimes I do wonder if Budget Eats would have gotten the viewership that it did had we not been all stuck at home, massively unemployed. offer monogamous relationship advice. My only advice is to find someone who is open to talking about everything in the relationship, including feelings that they experience that we are taught to be ashamed of. My number one rule in having a relationship, whether it be a friendship or a romantic relationship, is that they have to be able to be transparent and honest. If they can't handle honesty, then that's just going to be a major roadblock. You may enjoy them, but that means that you won't be able to carry any of their baggage with them, and it's just going to create such a wall between the two of you eventually that it's not going to be a healthy situation for me if you can't talk about shit. I don't know to what extent we are stepping out of reality, Nicole, but I'm glad you enjoy. I also need someone who's willing to learn about themselves. Like, if you're afraid to think about yourself and to actually solve all the knots within yourself, then that's not going to work. If you're afraid to talk about stuff that continue to bother you and you can't even bear to discuss it because it triggers you so much, that's going to be a problem. You have to be willing to unburden yourself if you're going to be friends or in a relationship with me. And the thing about people is you're going to be jealous no matter what, probably. And letting go of jealousy is something that you're going to have to work at. It's something very much that I experience a lot because we're in an open relationship, and I'm not perfect about handling it. When I'm jealous, I get really pissy sometimes, and I turn into a not very nice person. But every single time that I feel that jealousy is another chance for me to practice letting go of it. So in a lot of ways, conflict in relationships has been a really helpful way for me to learn. Conflict is kind of like making mistakes in cooking, you know? And jealousy is a natural reaction. I don't think we need to feel any guilt over it. You know, we are all taught and brought up in a society that tells us possessing stuff is important. Like owning and hoarding wealth is our version of defining success right now. So why do we expect people to not be jealous in a relationship? Because marriage was set up as an institution to trade goods through people, basically. And so it's come from this line of history where we choose to view the other person as a thing to possess. And given that we live in such a capitalistic society where we are told to consume and to possess, of course it's going to take a lot of freaking work to let go of that idea that you don't ever possess any person, not even yourself. And once we can let ourselves be free from that idea of possess everything, including ourselves, I think that would be the happiest I'll ever be. We weren't always in an open relationship. We probably opened it up 5 or 6 years ago. Rinsed lentils going in. And I'm going to keep cutting tomatoes. I've actually never cooked lentils in just tomatoes. I'm very curious if there's going to be enough moisture in here. Probably not. I've shared why we opened up the relationship before, because I'm asexual or demisexual. I fluctuate between those two identities. And Aaron is allosexual, which means he's the normative sexual person. And I didn't want to be responsible for his sexual health as his only sexual partner, because I didn't want to have sex when I didn't feel like having sex. So we just decided to try opening up the relationship so that we could both be happier in our relationship with each other, so that we can get what we want out of life without being confined and constrained by this conception of what a successful monogamous relationship is. I think a lot of judgy attitudes are thrown around when people say that they're in an open relationship or that they're in a poly relationship, and I don't know, guys. Those stereotypes don't really serve anybody. They just serve to make people feel like shit. So you never know what the alternatives to the mainstream lifestyle is until you try it. So I would encourage you to let go of the most common narratives of what is good and to actually try different things. It might surprise you what you actually like. Open relationships can be hurtful if you're not prepared for it. And yeah, it can be hurtful because we're not taught how to have an open relationship. We've been brought up from a monogamous point of view and a monogamous society for the most part. And we've been taught to view a successful relationship as one where there is pure devotion to your singular partner. And if that's the narrative and that's the morality framework that we've been taught, of course it's going to seem hurtful and painful to let go of that narrative and to try something that has been taught to you as signs of failure, infidelity, and dissatisfaction. Whether or not we meet each other's partners or dates is totally up to the partner or the date in question. If they want to meet up, we meet up. If they feel like it's a little bit awkward and embarrassing, or it's simply a weird dynamic for them, then we don't. It's just something that all three people have to consent to. But I'm perfectly happy meeting up with his dates if his dates want to meet up. It's very fun to meet other people. And it's fun to meet people who are open enough to date people who are in open relationships, because those people have already aligned themselves with a less normative, less mainstream point of view regarding romance, relationships, whatever. Aaron,
Yeah.
time to feed Fred.
Oh, yes.
Thank you for the reminder.
Thank you.
Our cats would have starved were it not for you, or rather one cat. We were just talking about getting Fred a buddy. He seems kind of sad and lonely, but
But June doesn't want to bring 2 litter box.
Apparently you need 2 litter boxes for 2 cats, and our
No,
apartment
you
is
need-
just so tiny.
You need 3 litter boxes because it's however many cats you have plus 1 for the number of litter boxes. Hello everyone, how are we doing tonight? Dell's the first one to say hi, Aaron. So Dell gets plus 10 Aaron points. Redeem them at the Aaron store.
Yes, Fred. Yes. What spices should I put in my lentils, guys? I didn't put any spices yet. Whoopsie daisy. Ooh, smoked paprika. I like that.
How's our numbers tonight, June?
Numbers 447.
447?
Yeah.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's an ATH, but it's up there.
I like the smoked paprika. I think that goes well with tomatoes. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do all of this remaining black pepper because that's been hanging around.
Why are people tuning in tonight? Because they hear like the drama?
Oh yeah, people probably
Everybody-
love the drama.
Everybody.
I'm gonna
loves
go in
drama.
with a little bit of my 6 spice. Sorry.
It's okay.
Let's do a little bit of steak seasoning. Del, I don't rewatch the lives.
Do you guys actually think I have Asperger's? Is there anybody qualified to answer that question based on whatever they've seen on me and June's videos and on live stream?
Okay, we got a question. Baruch Spinoza asks,
Great name.
seems like Aaron puts a lot of stock in his intelligence and maybe at times makes you feel lesser than to make himself feel better. What do you think, Aaron?
Well, June is a dummy, so I mean I know
He's
that.
joking, guys. Learn Aaron's jokes, okay? He has really, after 10 years with him, I still sometimes can't tell when he's joking with me or not. So it is very hard to take him seriously 100% of the time. But that time, I can tell you with 99.9999% certainty that he was joking. Anyway. For HLP who came here to experience peace and quiet, I'm not sure you picked the right live.
Why
for
don't
peace and
you?
quiet.
You're on YouTube, so just search like rain, thunderstorm noises 10 hours, or like babbling brook noises 10 hours. It'll get
Ooh,
your peace and
oregano.
quiet.
Italian seasoning. Yes, let's put some Italian seasoning in here.
How about that lo-fi hip hop live stream thing? That famous channel. You can chill out with that. What's it called? Lo-fi hip hop radio or something?
Asperger's isn't a thing anymore.
Oh. Okay. Well,
It is outdated.
what did the people who have did they get transferred to something new if they had Asperger's and then it became not a thing? Like, did their diagnosis get transferred?
Probably is a rename. What's the new name, guys? We are very uneducated.
I'm almost Canadian. That's true. Being from Rochester, that is just across.
Mark, thank you so much
Upon
for that
from
long
Canada.
pepper note. Appreciate it.
I do play COD. That's one.
They're just on the autism spectrum.
That's the game I play with my brother mainly. I don't play it by myself, but that's what we play together. He's really good. He's like pretty much a pro FPS player, and I suck, so I just like play objective,
In the time of the internet calling people out for asking others to perform free labor in terms of Googling shit, thank you guys so much for performing the free labor of Googling shit for me and letting me know what the new name for Asperger's is. Always learning from y'all and appreciate that very
Yes,
much.
but like 50 people have said it already. It's under the autism spectrum now. Thank you for the. Got it.
Well, they all pitched in, Aaron. You gotta.
Okay. Well, it's like people are saying it like 10 minutes after other people say
They're
it,
on a delay.
Okay.
There's a delay to the lives.
All
Chill
right.
out, dude.
I am extremely.
Not
I am the chillest I've ever been.
Not everyone sees the common stroll as you see the common stroll.
Okay.
There is miscommunication in terms of lag
Oh,
and
yeah.
timing.
Wait, hold on. The video might be delayed, but comments aren't. People should see the comments instantly.
Sometimes the comments are delayed versus my phone and my laptop, so.
There's a debate going on about Asperger label because you have people in the 40s who still want the label. I say if you previously had Asperger's, people should just be able to still say they had it, you know? Like, if that makes you feel good.
Kathy, I don't know if 6 spice, 5 spice, and Italian seasoning go well together, or with smoked paprika for that matter, but we're doing it, you know, because how do you know until you do it? But it is a huge pot of lentils that I'm fucking up right now, isn't it? Oh well, that's how you learn.
Hey, no. What do you think you're doing, Fred? I know I'm 11 or now 17 minutes late. but
Hope
still,
this doesn't come out
we'll
wrong,
survive.
but do you think that even if you don't feel you have done wrong, it's important to acknowledge that what you said
Hey,
might
June,
have been hurtful?
Take accountability.
Yes, it is. I think,
We all need to take accountability.
but sometimes when your own insecurities are being triggered in that moment that you're being called to be accountable, it can cause even further conflict if you have unresolved issues within yourself. And this is why, and this is something very much that I'm still working on, because when I get called out, when Aaron discusses with me stuff that, you know, like, I didn't handle well, I handle it even worse when I hear that
No,
criticism.
Fred, well, I just yelled at you. I don't want to yell at you again, buddy. What are you doing?
It's not very peace and quiet today, but
Yeah, how many people switched to the 10-hour thunderstorm? So,
I'm still working on it. But yes, if you can, try to be open enough to acknowledge that you hurt other people even without intending on hurting them.
oh, that is the bottom.
Yeah, stop.
Oh, no, that's the bottom. We
Stop
weren't seeing
pushing.
the most relevant ones. Why
Let's
hot
talk
water
more
for cat
slop.
food? Because we were told by the lady who was fostering Fred, and this makes sense. We never actually Googled this, but
What?
it makes sense.
What?
That cats like hot food because, like, in the real nature type
Oh
shit,
yes, yes.
cats would be killing things like mice or birds, and they would
Okay,
be.
let's feed
Yeah.
the boy.
Well,
We're
can I
late,
finish
we're
my
late.
sentence?
No.
All right.
All right, buddy. Time for the flow, Venti. 1,
It's so soft.
2,
I'm not even petting
3.
because of him. I just
4.
want to rub his soft fur.
Okay, break time. Back. 5. Come on, a couple more. 6.
Make sure it's tight against him.
7.
I don't want him to breathe over it. Get,
8.
getting outside here. No, push away.
One more. 9. 10.
Okay.
Yay! You did it, Fredo. Mush. Okay, now I'm going to transfer the lentils to the back stove so that I can do the beans. And I think I have a lot of beans, but let's do the big pan. Oh, where is the big pan? Is it in the...
In the oven, yeah. Is there still a plan to make string beans tonight?
Yes, I'm making it now.
Excellent. Otherwise, I will start acting like Fred and start meowing at you and scratching you through the feet.
Yes, that is Flovent. Very expensive medication for my cat's asthma. Has the inhaler helped Fred a lot? We've noticed a lot less wheezy
Yes,
attacks.
he's had one minor asthma attack since we started treatment. So, versus maybe one every few days before. So, this seems to be a major improvement.
I need a place for my computer. Small kitchen, getting smaller every day.
I'll be back.
Okay, bye. The key to good string beans is you use a shit ton of oil, guys. The key to anything really is you use a shit ton of oil. Always use a lot of oil. As an asexual, are you not attracted to people? False. I'm not attracted to them sexually, but sometimes if I slip into my demisexual identity, I can develop sexual attraction to some people after I trust them and develop an emotional bond with them. But I don't ever see a stranger who's hot, quote unquote, and feel the need to jump their bones. That never happens to me. And I do not like kissing people. Sometimes I will develop a sexual attraction to people, but I will not actually want to have sex with them. Probably doesn't make sense, but that's the way it goes. Am I asexual for real? How do I quantify? How do I quantify for real? Lenny Kravitz, Linda baby, Lenny Kravitz is all yours. No desire. He is a very attractive, handsome gentleman, but I do not desire him. Oh my god, sapiosexual needs to die as a term. I truly hate seeing that on people's dating profiles. I don't even know what that means, guys. Is that actually, especially the prevalence with which I see that term described as a label on dating profiles, I'm just like, are you for real? I don't know. Sapiosexual is supposed to mean that you're attracted to intelligence. You're attracted to their brains. I'm definitely not into Brad Pitt, Linda. You can take Brad Pitt too. Thank you. So unless you just don't like people who like brain stuff, like reading books, I guess we're all sapiosexuals, and it just feels very strange to put that on your dating profile as I'm only attracted to smart people. It just, I don't know, it feels really, I also feel like mentioning that as a sexual orientation is kind of jokey and also belittles the significance with which we reveal our actual sexual orientation, so I'm just not sure about it, guys. Let me know if I'm offending anybody who identifies themselves purely as a sapiosexual out there. Yay, Lissy, I'm so glad. Yes, it is a fartspalooza, Laura. So normally when I cook string beans, I cook them whole like this for camera because they look better, but I'm going to chop them up now because it's way easier
to eat when they're bite-sized, and you don't have to go around trying to stuff them in your mouth. Probably should have used a bigger cutting board, but whatever. You guys didn't actually come to this live to learn how to cook things, did you? I hope not.
Eliza, why did you put your hand down? I don't know, Eliza. I just feel like I probably notice your name now that you always pop up. I also always notice Dell. Emily, I would love to make you a plate. Come on over. What are the rules of my open relationship with Aaron? He can see people, I can see people, he can hook up, just let me know. And we try to be open with answering all questions that we have for each other. The moment when you're unwilling to answer something, I feel that that is severe emotional cheating. So string beans just have onions right now, nothing else. Onions, olive oil, that's it. Brett is waiting for more food. He's been a very hungry boy today. How do you think parents should support ACE children? Well, I think believe them. Because my parents, when I first told them that I think I was asexual, they were like, no, you're not, you're just inexperienced. And then just let them figure themselves out. Maybe they're not actually ace, and maybe they are just inexperienced, but if they say they are, then believe them for that time being, because we are people who change, but it never feels good to be put down and negated. I don't believe that sexuality has to stay the same throughout your lifetime, and I don't think that that makes you a liar or a faker. I think that just means that you change, and I think we should be open to that change. In a lot of ways, we should be open to change in all aspects of our lives that we're currently not. And I think not being open to change brings us a lot of misery. Oh, you're meowing. Why are you meowing? I mean, my mom and my dad wanted me to have kids, and they believed that once I reached a certain age, I would want to have kids, like somehow my biological clock would just kick in. And I was like, I don't think so, guys. You should probably give up that dream now, because you're just going to get more disappointed if you keep believing in that shit. So, it's fine to not want things that we've been taught to want, because we should question who's been teaching us what to want. And we should question why those things are upheld as things to want. And we should think about what systems we're being told to uphold that might not actually work for us. Are you hurting yourself, Fred? What are you doing, buddy? You getting zoomies? Are you getting zoomies? I don't have any siblings, and I have way more than 2 things that I like about Aaron. I love how transparent Aaron is. I love how much he doesn't care about public perception in a lot of ways. I love how open he is to how weird I can be. I love how supportive he can be of me when I need him to be in the ways that I need him to be. I love how open he is to change. In the 10 years that we've been with each other, he's changed so much, and a lot of it has been because I've given him feedback. I mean, yes, I did struggle with the fact of like, oh, my partner is changing and therefore he's not who I started dating in the beginning, and he's like almost a different person now. But I'm also learning through this experience that people change. That's that. You can't really stop it. And then you just decide for yourself whether or not you want to continue being with that person. That's your decision. It's their decision to change and to what degree. And it's your decision whether or not you want to stay in that relationship with this person who has changed. I think I've for sure changed much less than he has. Yes, Aaron taught English. Yeah, you can always leave, and that's why we don't believe in marriage, because I think marriage mentally and legally binds you to someone and limits your options. So the only reason why you would ever marry is because, in my point of view, you seek to gain something from the legal institutions that have been established for people in a marriage, such as tax breaks or nationality, citizenship, immigration, stuff like that. If it's just about love and you don't really need the tax break, I don't know why you're doing that. You also spend a shit ton of money putting that wedding up. I don't own a wok, Jenny. Yep, Linda, asexuals can have orgasms. That's funny. That's always like one of the first questions that I get asked on dating apps is, have you ever orgasmed? It's like people don't believe me that I'm asexual. They just would rather believe that I've never been with a partner who's been able to make me sexually satisfied, and that's why I think I'm asexual. And I feel like that line of questioning comes into play with people believing that they can cure me of my asexuality, and I'm just like, let me stop you right there. Would I be willing to explain asexuality? I can discuss and answer any questions that you have for me regarding my asexuality. I cannot explain asexuality for everyone's experience. It is a spectrum. No one experience is the same. I feel like after a year and a half in quarantine, we have all learned that you cannot have monolithic definitions for identities, that everyone's version of their own aspects of identity is completely distinct and different. So it's a very big topic, but I'm here to answer any specific questions you have for me. I cannot, however, explain what asexuality is for everyone. Asexuality means for me that I don't prioritize my physical and sexual attraction to somebody when considering whether or not I want to date them and be in a relationship with them and spend my time with them. Sorry, what did I just judge? I missed that chat. Everyone's worried about people's sexuality because we sell things with sex as a promise. Like, become more sexy with this product and you will get more love and you will be more successful in life and it will complete all your dreams. Like, that's how we sell shit, and that's why we're concerned about sexuality, because sexuality is very much tied in with this capitalistic notion of success. I'm not judging people for being married. I'm just saying it doesn't make any logical sense for me in my brain unless you're doing it for legal reasons and economic reasons. Because at the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper. Aaron and I are legally domestic partners. I needed that identity because I needed his health insurance plan at the time. That's the only reason why we went and sat in City Hall for 3 hours waiting to get a piece of paper. And yes, totally. That's just my point of view. I'm not saying don't fucking get married. You do whatever you want, babe. It's your life. If you got the money to spend on a celebration for your love and everyone who's happy for your love and your union, do it. I'm just saying for me, it doesn't seem very attractive. But then again, Brad Pitt doesn't seem attractive to me. So, you know, I'm a weird one. I'm bound to have different opinions than you. I'm not saying that your opinion is wrong. I'm just saying it's not for me. And I'm explaining why it's not for me. And I hope that my explanation of why it's not for me doesn't offend you and negate why you think it is for you. I think coming from our experiences with parents who went through pretty bad divorces and continue to have sustained trauma from those separations, both Aaron and I were pretty clear on our mutual decision that marriage is not something that we wanted to achieve and potentially repeat our parents' failures in. You know, it probably stems from our own experience, our own traumas from seeing our parents go through failed marriages. So it's deeply personal, and I'm not saying that there are no happy married couples. Of course there are. And I'm very glad that it works out for you, and I'm very glad that, you know, people are not all as pessimistic and nihilistic as I am, but I'm going to finish off this little bit of soy sauce and put this bottle out of its misery. Hi, Fred.
jittery. Oh my God, I'm so sorry that I blocked it, but he just did that cat thing where they ran away sideways like a crab. Oh, Mush Town, here we come. Mush Town, here we come. I think my lentils are burning on the bottom. Whoops. Oh, hell yeah, they are. I don't know if you can see this massive failure, but I was not stirring it enough because I was multitasking too hard and reading the chat and cooking my string beans, but the bottom of that pot is burnt. Oh wells. I didn't add extra water, Valerie. Aaron, do you want cumin in the beans?
Sure.
And you want us to drum peppercorns?
I do. Yeah, I was thinking of like a classic thing, stir fry.
Okay, some citron peppercorns for Aaron. Some cumin. Elder, I would recommend that you refresh your page. And Allison, I didn't get him the mousy. I believe Aaron's mom got us the mousy. So thank you, Leslie, if you're watching. It came to us anonymously. It's an admirer of Fred's signed the card. Sometimes we just eat cheese and snacks, but we almost never go out to eat unless it's the weekend. We don't ever call in for takeout. Heats off on the beans, heats off on the lentils. I'm going to do some quick rinses. And no, I will not be putting soap or sponges to these containers. They just help rinse string beans. Soap is not necessary, guys. What are you going to eat these with, Aaron? The beans. Bree Elder, I see your comments. I think the reason why you got muted was because you sent your message about not seeing chat like 10 times. And so whenever we see somebody spamming the same message over and over again, we'll put you in a timeout corner for a little bit. But if anytime you're experiencing chat issues, just try to reload the page. I have no idea what's going on, but I think everyone else has access to the chats. Yeah, the lentils are overcooked, but I really like them overcooked. I just like them really mushy, like this, like baby food, you know? This is why I don't like it when people call me a chef, because I feel like the word chef comes with it the expectation that I'm supposed to know what I'm doing all the time, like I'm already a master of cooking, and I'm not. I'm just a home cook. I just like to cook shit for myself, and it turns out that I do it for a living. So I would prefer to be called a cook and not a chef.
Where do we keep the rice these days?
There's some in that plastic container. That's the kind that you like.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
That should be just enough for
Yes.
this.
Aaron's gonna cook some rice. I'm going to try to rescue my lentils.
What's this rice rinsing deal? Why do people
Del and
So-
Bree, do I need to put you guys both in timeout corner?
are mods having a row? Is there a row between mods?
I think there's someone who's been experiencing technical issues and she's blaming mods for timing her out.
Okay.
But I don't even know if mods are timing her out. So, Bree, I hear you're having technical issues. I'm not sure my mods are abusing you. I hope they are not. And if you're just having technical issues, please refresh the page. What is technically a chef? So chef is a derivative of a French word, le chef, which means chief. And it means that you're in control of the kitchen. And the French kitchen is laid out in a very militaristic, hierarchical manner, where you have the head chef, and then you have like different kinds of sous chefs, and you have different stations, and they each control something of the kitchen. Like you have garde manger, which is appetizers and salads and stuff. So if you're not in control of a kitchen, I would say don't call yourself a chef, but that's very old school, it's a saying. I think right now chef has become a term for anybody who cooks for a living as a profession, which I certainly am, working in food media, but I just personally don't like to be called a chef, that's all.
You can call me a chef.
Tell Aaron that I like his outfit, it's very swaggy.
Thank you.
Brown rice, brown and white rice has arsenic, but brown has more because it contains the bran, which is more to the origin of the arsenic, which is in the dirt that the rice is grown in.
I know Asian people rinse their rice. I just don't know how big of a deal it is. Because, like, apparently it washes some of the starch off the exterior, which makes it less sticky. But I want sticky rice. I really like rice that is gooey and sticks together. So, does that mean I shouldn't rinse it if I want it stickier? Also, some people, I cook all the time. You clearly didn't watch Aaron Week video if you're asking if I ever cook. The week where June had to eat everything I made. Because some people get like so crazy about the rice rinsing. They're like, you gotta do it until it runs clear. 10 times, 20 times, 100 times.
What?
You gotta do it until it runs clear. I'm asking what the deal is with the rice rinsing. If it's just to make the rice less starchy and less sticky,
Yeah,
And it's
because
like-
you don't want it to be mushy. It's not the. It's
but
not.
I
the,
want it to be sticky. is
Okay,
what I'm saying.
Aaron. There's a
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, everybody. Chef June will be here. Will explain.
Okay, so let me tell you guys about the different kinds of rice that I currently have. Aaron just used. Can I see the container that it was in?
It was just.
Can I see it, please?
Okay.
Thank you. Oh, you ripped the label off.
It was like koshikari or whatever.
Yes, Aaron just cooked koshikari, which is a short grain Japanese rice. Then I also have here sticky brown rice, which has the brand. But this rice is not just the less refined version of that rice. That rice is actually not sticky. That one is just short grain, and it's a little bit gummier than your long grain rice and a little bit sweeter, but it's not sticky. This, however, is sticky, and do I have it in here? I don't. Okay, and then there's also glutinous white sticky rice. And so both the brown and the white rice are meant to be eaten as sticky rice. They are so sticky that they will stick on your fingers, and you can mash them and they will turn into mochi eventually. This rice, however, is not meant to be sticky. It's kind of like sushi rice, where it is somewhat sticky, but it's not glutinous. And just by not rinsing this off, you're not making the rice itself gluier or starchier. You're just not rinsing off the surface starch, which means that the grains won't be separate. The grains will be stuck and mushed together.
I gave it one quick rinse.
That's fine.
Okay.
Severe bloat. After massive salt intake, drink water maybe?
Why did you have a massive salt intake?
Does Aaron eat raw spaghetti? Asking for a friend. He'll taste one every once in a while.
I sure would. There's a certain reason why they're asking that.
Did you know that cherry seeds have enough arsenic to kill? How much do I have to eat to kill? Excuse me, I just burped. I actually have some frozen cherry seeds. Yeah, I think it is cyanide. Sam, would I do a mochi video? Probably not. I didn't grow up with mochi, and I don't really know how to make it from rice, but I've made desserts before with glutinous rice flour, like the tangyuan video that's up on delish.com shows me making Chinese tangyuan, which are little glutinous sticky rice balls filled with black sesame paste or sweet sesame paste or something. I want mooncakes too. I missed out on last year's mooncakes. Camping budget eats should be out within the next 2 weeks. Excuse me. He doesn't like the mouse, Aaron. He likes the tail.
He only plays with the tail.
The mouse is too big for him to play with.
You got it. Nice. Now kill. Good work.
Jenny, I just answered that question. I should probably taste this before putting it all away, huh? Do you like the spoon? Isn't it cool? MA, spoons of PB is my life. Ooh, very good. Yes, this was a thrift find, indeed. I made some red lentils and tomato. And I just remembered I didn't use any garlic at all in any of the things. Oops. Sorry, Aaron.
I mean, I'll just dump garlic powder on it.
Okay.
Needs a heat bump.
I think the Italian seasoning I went a little too heavy-handed with. It kind of always tastes a little bit medicinal to me. I probably should have not added in that second batch of seasoning. Oh wells. You blocking me?
Well, it's either blocking you or blocking Fred.
Why don't you stand behind
So
me?
I'll block both.
Oh my god. This is why the people hate you. They love to hate you.
I basically asked for it.
Aw. Now you guys have made Aaron bully himself.
No, Aaron, don't T-pose.
Oh my god, Aaron. You just fucking almost broke the Christmas lights.
It's fine. I grew up with a very specific spicy food, and being from Western New York, I'm sure you can guess what that food was.
Wings, baby!
Well, why did you do that? That's not very fun if you just say the answer.
Wings!
They were supposed to guess.
Buffalo wings!
Okay, thanks for playing, everybody. I got this shirt on the internet.
Real helpful.
Rochester buffalo wings are not buffalo wings, Aaron.
Whoa!
What the fuck
Strong
are you talking
takes.
about? Also, buffalo wings are I mean, they're not wings that you buy in Buffalo, but buffalo wings are a style of wings. So are you saying that, like, you know, New York cheesecake made in like an LA bakery isn't New York cheesecake or something?
Guys,
I don't know what
should
you're
I
saying.
eat the burnt bits? Should I try the burnt bits? They're like just under black. They're like so dark brown that they're not quite black yet. Should I eat it? Should I eat it?
I'm not a Weezer fan. I don't know why you would assume that.
Okay, I'll eat it, guys. Jenny says no. Do it for science. All right.
Was that spicy food self-tanner? What are you saying? I'm tan? Do I look
That's
tan?
definitely carcinogenic.
What about my skin tone makes you think that I use tanner? Is it that there's orange light or something now? I assure you, I am pale as shit in normal lighting.
Did you watch the Ziwi clip of Andrew Yang?
What's
No.
Ziwi?
I have no idea what Ziwi is. What did he say now?
Yeah. Did he get himself into more hot
Why
water?
is the only, like, Asian politician that's made a name for himself turning into such an asshole? I'm so bummed.
And you guys also got Trump's former transportation secretary, I think it was Elaine Chao.
Really?
Yeah, Mitch McConnell's wife.
He's married to an Asian woman?
He sure is.
What?
Yeah. I think her name was Elaine Chao.
Blows my mind. What? See? That's what the pot looks like. But if you let it sit for a while, you can scrape it off really nicely. And it won't be as much of a mess to clean off.
Elaine Chao seems like an asshole, but I honestly don't think there's a single person in American politics worse than Mitch McConnell. It is incredible the devastation and the lack of progress that Mitch McConnell has caused to our not only just politics in this country as a whole, but also just the damage done to this country by his existence is
And he looks like a
horrendous.
turtle.
Yeah, I've always said he's far worse than Trump. I mean, especially his effects are longer lasting than Trump. He was there during the Obama administration, blocking every single possible form of progress there was, and he's here after as minority leader and probably eventually majority leader again.
How long has he
everything
been in the Senate?
Turtles live a long time, June.
Oh my god.
Fred would make a good non-corrupt politician. I don't really. I honestly don't super trust if a cat like became human or just like cat personality is
Aaron,
human.
can I use your rice pot after your rice is done to warm up my other lentils?
Yes, I think I'm comfortable with cats being as they are, small furry creatures that don't make decisions about things because cats are devious little fuckers. So
Does Aaron mind you talking about your sex life so openly?
I don't, June. Well, it's not just my sex life; it's also June's. And I've always said my rule of thumb for the live streams is if it's something that relates to June specifically, then go ahead and talk about it. So I would never stop her talking about herself. I think, she generally knows that if it's a question that very specifically relates to me, to leave that to me to answer or not answer. But if it's stuff then that deals with both of us together, then I'll let her use her best judgment on that. I think it's reasonable what she said so far, but I wasn't listening to all of it.
I can confirm that I like red lentils way more than I like green lentils now.
So mushy and so creamy.
Would you?
What does it mean to be based, guys?
Well, there's only two things in the world you can be: based or cringe, June.
Oh, okay. Based is good then.
Based is good, yes.
I love Fred more than I ever thought I could love a cat. I feel like he's really worked his magic on me. He's cursed me.
Red lentil chili sounds amazing, guys. I mean, basically, we just kind of made a chili because it's very tomatoey.
Do you want a bite?
Yes. Well, Mitch McConnell is not based. Mitch McConnell is cringe. And June is mostly based.
Oh, okay.
Like 95% based.
Fred ate for dinner what he eats every day for dinner.
That's delicious, thank you. That was really good. How do I describe it? I wish I was good at describing things as June. It tasted like lentils.
It's a little of a cross between a chili and an Indian dal, but without the overwhelming amount of richness from ghee. So a little bit more of like a low-fat version of dal with very heavy tomato hints, with also detectable levels of Italian seasoning.
Why are we still talking about Mitch McConnell? I see people mentioning him every other comment. He is cringe.
Fred, what are you doing, buddy? Do you love me, Fred? Do you love me? Or do you just want more food, you manipulative little fucker? You master manipulator. Look at that face. Look at that face. Look at this face. We do have a laser toy. He doesn't really love it as much. I have no idea who Olivia Rodrigo is, aside from the fact that she's being memed all over the place right now. Who is she? I don't know. I'm too old to know. Brown lentils and shepherd's pie, totally. Yes. Jenny, I got the bowl from a yard sale. $1 each. It was amazing. Is Fred Polly? I don't know. I think Fred is just food.
Fred got his balls chopped off.
Well, we still see kind of his balls, but he definitely doesn't have any use for them. Yeah, I feel like he does know that the laser is coming out of my hands, and he loses interest when he notices that. Fred! Off! So terrifying when he does that. Do you want to taste the lentils? It has onions in it, but you can smell it. Do you want some? No, because it's vegetarian. Of course you don't want anything that's vegetarian. You only want to eat dead animals.
You eat a living animal too, I'm sure.
He doesn't like being brushed. Aaron doesn't like to twitch.
What?
You don't really twitch.
I don't live stream, no.
Aaron watches other people on Twitch.
I don't know. I would if I was confident that people actually would be interested enough
Thank you.
in me, then I would consider it. But I also don't know if people would enjoy the sort of content I'm interested in either. Because there's a live streamer called Josh Citarella that I like a lot. So basically, I watch like a lot of different people. I watch video game stuff, and I watch Yu-Gi-Oh stuff. But specifically, if I was a
I'm
Twitch
gonna turn
streamer,
up the heat because that rice looks very
Yes.
overcooked.
overcooked.
Yeah,
Oh.
so we have to
It hasn't
drive
even
off
been
the
that-
moisture.
It hasn't been that long.
Don't you want crispy bottoms?
I do want crispy bottom. So I guess I might do some gaming, but I would want to be similar to like this, like I said, Twitch live streamer who I'm sure nobody's ever heard of because he's very small, Josh Citarella, who basically like explores sort of philosophical and political content. Like he'll watch sort of like a philosophy lecture, and talk about it with the people. And live streamer, he'll watch like an interview with like a political commentator, not like cable news,
the rice crackle.
MSNBC bullshit, but like more like high-minded stuff.
That's how you know the
And I don't think there's too much of an audience for that.
I like to hear that crackle towards the end of the cooking process to drive off any excess moisture and also to crisp up the bottom. Once you hear that crackle and you start seeing a little bit of smoke instead of steam come out, that means you're burning the bottom, which is good because you want that golden crispy crust. Fred is fixed. Correct. I can watch that, Aaron.
No worries.
Hi, Jess. Once it stops crackling as much, kind of like popcorn, you know that it's starting to actually burn and you want to turn that off. And then you want to leave the lid on for like another 2 minutes because if you unlid it right away, that crispy bottom might not lift. It might still be very stuck. I love glutinous rice of all kinds. Thai long grain glutinous rice, short brown and white glutinous rice. It's probably the worst for you in terms of glycemic index, but it's just so good and enjoyable. Yum, 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 yum. Do you get paid for doing these live streams? Hell no, he doesn't, because I'm a greedy bitch.
Me?
But also, when we got placed on limited ads for mentioning Palestine a few days back,
That's our guess. We don't know that's the reason.
we don't know that's the reason, but when we got placed on limited ad ability for that one live stream, I've noticed that a lot of my ad revenue has gone down. It's gone down probably about 25-30% since that one episode, so not sure what's going on, but I've always told Aaron that if he wants a share of the ad revenue after taxes are done, he's welcome to take.
I'm a strong, independent man who don't need no handouts from my girl.
Hi, Singapore. I like my beans really, really nice and soft. I don't like much crunch to them.
so they're a little bit over.
I like a soft green. A nice soft green.
Yeah, I do. Mmm. Yes, yes, yes. Ooh. These are perfect for me, but probably a little too soft for Aaron. I love it though. I pretty much only taught for 1 year as a fellow in China. I didn't really have much of a career in education. And being an educator is really hard. And that year in China really burned me out as a first year teacher. I wasn't really given the right support to actually make me feel like an accomplished teacher who wasn't failing her students. I felt like I was failing my students because my co-fellow and I split 6 grades. And we took on their English classes, their art classes, their science classes, and the art and the science were taught in Chinese, not English. My co-fellow also took on all of their PE classes. And so, having never taught before professionally and having to teach bilingually across 3 subjects, across pretty much 6 different grade levels was so fucking intense. And I felt like I had failed so much that I really didn't want to fail any more students after that year. So I came back to New York and I was like, guess I'm not going to teach anymore. Low wage budget cooking ability stemmed from my childhood and growing up with parents who survived the Cultural Revolution. Do you want your rice, Aaron? Yeah.
Okay, figure it over.
Aaron put too much water in here. It's a little bit soggy.
I heard that.
Are you watching the stream?
No, I heard you whisper.
The bottom isn't very crispy yet, so we're gonna crisp it up a little bit more. Hi, Puerto Rico. The fact that we undervalue educators and don't give them the proper means to successfully teach students and make their job so hard that it is so much easier to fail at being a teacher than succeed at being a teacher is pretty criminal. The fact that we're just messing up whole generations because we can't prioritize education.
I use too much water.
A little, yeah.
Okay. Well, I do everything not properly,
It's
like
nice
without a rice
though.
cooker,
It's nice
so
though.
it is what it is.
It's nice. It is a little too moist, but it's fine.
We tasting it?
It's hot. I'm trying to crisp up a little bottom for you, but I don't think it's gonna
Crispy
happen.
bottom. June, please try mango pickle with your lentils.
Mango pickle. I think we bought mango pickle once.
I did get that from Patel Brothers.
I gotta be honest, I'm not a big fan of mango pickles because I like my mangoes sweet and only in sweet applications. And the moment you
I
transition,
really like mango pickles.
to each their own.
Yeah.
I wish I was happier and less self-conscious. What are you self-conscious about?
Have you tried being happier and being less self-conscious?
Stop, Aaron. Why do you have to be that way? You're not helping nobody.
I mean, I know it might be hard, but that's like the first thing you should try, maybe.
No, it's not.
Okay.
Because not being happy enough is often not because of anything you can change. It's often because you haven't accepted yourself.
Got it. Thank you. Okay.
What do you mean, Aaron?
I agree. Yes,
Okay.
I agree.
I'm just saying, when somebody is bearing themselves on a stranger's live stream in front of almost 500 other people.
Well, why did you think June would help? Why would you be able to help?
Because I'm not gonna say shit like, have you tried being happier? And making a joke out of their
Yes,
situation.
I wasn't sensitive. I'm sorry, everybody.
Can you just go eat your food? Thank
Oh,
you.
it's right here. Is this mine?
No, that's
Oh.
mine. Get your own bowl.
Okay.
Exhausting. Sorry, Ventures of Janae. But yes, being happy is a lifelong chase, and sometimes the chase only ends when you stop running. I have also been trying to be more satisfied with myself about certain things that I've seen change in myself in the past year that I'm not happy with. And I think the only way to do that is to just let go of that previous self that I'm holding myself in comparison to, and just be like, this is the new you, June, and this is who you have to go forward being, and you have to start with this version. The last version doesn't exist anymore, and that will only bring you more pain if you continue to try to return yourself to that previous version.
Not caring is a very powerful tool. So in my flippant, insensitive comment, there is, believe it or not, a kernel of truth there. Where that if you're talking about, I know it's very hard to just become happier, that's one thing. But especially for things like less self-conscious, you can simply attempt to let go of the things that, normally cause you reservations and normally cause you to, feel that self-consciousness.
May I?
Yes, I got most of it out. So, honestly, the ability to exert some sort of willpower over yourself and realizing that the only person who is actually in control, to whatever extent that control might be, of the goings on in your brain is you, and simply, not trying to, rather.
I don't like.
Not-
Can I just interrupt you?
Yes.
I really hate using the word simply as an adjective in these talks because nothing is simple.
Right,
about
nothing
this.
is simple. Thank you for that correction. That wasn't the right word. Basically, don't assume that something is impossible, right? Don't assume that the way you are now is the way you must be. And as I've talked about, I think a few times before, and many people have pushed back on me about this. June, I think, hates it, and a lot of people hate this because a lot of people are really.
Just say what you mean, Aaron.
Let me preface things however I want. Because a lot of people are very much attached to whatever identities they currently hold. And they don't really accept that there might be a possibility out there, because within that possibility exists danger, and with it exists fear of failure and stuff like that. But to identify with these things, like I am an unhappy person, I am a self-conscious person, and to assume that is the way it must be, is not necessarily the truth. It might not have to be that way, and it might be as simple as, sorry I said the S word again, as you making an attempt to change yourself.
So I believe she clarified that she was struggling with social anxiety, which I think you can speak to on this, Aaron, because I feel like you're a more socially anxious person
Right.
than I am.
I was very socially anxious. I used to have a big fear about going out with one person at a time, like one friend, not going out on a date, but like just, meeting a friend that was just me one-on-one with a friend. Because with three people, it's sort of like there's always somebody else who you can rely on if you have nothing to talk about.
Can I see the chat? You can continue, I just need to see the
Okay.
chat.
And so my worry was if it was just me with one other person, like I wouldn't have enough interesting things to say, and then there would be silence and it would be awkward. And I often, for many years, avoided going out with just one friend at a time, and I would always try to schedule group stuff.
See, I'm the direct opposite of Aaron in that I hate hanging out with a group of people.
So, I'm now totally fine with being one-on-one with somebody, and the way I did that is I simply accepted that they're.
Simply again.
I'm sorry. Let me use the language I want. If you don't like the language, then you don't like the language, okay?
Okay.
But I'm going to speak however I want to speak. So I accepted that there will be awkwardness and there will be, moments of, not great communication, and there will be like, maybe people get bored and maybe people get run out of things to talk about, and that will happen. But the other person, is probably just as worried about that as I am, and we just do our best in social situations. And so, I don't know, like, when people ask for advice about like this stuff, there's really like, everything comes down to like, you just have to change the way you deal with your own brain, right? Like, what are the techniques for that? There's therapy, there's, I don't know, drugs, there's all kinds of stuff. Or, you can practice certain things. But it's like, that is what it comes down to, is you need to accept that you can change. And there is a different, thing that can go on inside your brain. Doing things is also one of the best ways to accept things and learn things. Is, forcing yourself. Like, if I don't know your situation with social anxiety, what specifically bothers you, but like for me, the first time I went out with a friend one-on-one and decided to try to change this stuff, in my brain, these problems, it was hard and it did make me nervous and I didn't like it. But you do it enough and you just get over it, just to whatever degree you can.
Fred, are we invading your space? Are we invading your space? I don't think he likes it when I grab his foot. Otherwise, I would show you his toe beans.
Yes, communication is also great. If you tell people you have social anxiety, nobody except the, I don't know who would actually do this, but like nobody's gonna say that they have a problem with that. They'll just accept that and, just treat you like a normal person. And probably people will be as understanding as possible if they hear that.
Yes, we've heard of CBT and DBT. How do you and Aaron resolve when disagreeing with each other's opinions? I mean, sometimes we don't resolve it. There are a lot of things that we don't agree on. And you see many of these disagreements on the streams, right? So, again, sometimes you just can't resolve everything.
Isn't that beautiful?
So beauty.
Excellent work, June.
Much beauty.
Let me get a good bite.
Like, Aaron and I are not the same people. I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with myself. Sometimes I hate myself. And so it's only natural that sometimes I hate Aaron. But it's like, you're never going to find someone who you agree with 100% of the time and that you like 100% of the time.
Although, I have brought up in our disagreements sometimes how June is so very, very particular about like way things should be done. Like, how communication should be done between two people. How cleaning a house should be done. How, what I'm talking about. Like, you have very, very high standards and very particular standards. So I've said that it seems like the person you would truly be most happy with is yourself, because not like being alone, but like another person who's basically a copy of you, because that person would have the same standards you do and you would never be disappointed by them, not doing something the right way, not communicating the right way, not, cleaning the right way, not whatever.
I will always find something wrong with the person. Just because we are
in agreement on other things doesn't mean that I won't find something wrong, because oftentimes the problem isn't that we don't see eye to eye, it's just that I am dissatisfied with the current situation, and then I like to project that dissatisfaction onto my partner. So even if my partner didn't do something that offended me, I'll find something wrong. Because I want to blame someone, or I want to blame it on something. I'm heating up some of my other green lentils in Aaron's rice pot, and this is what it looks like. More mush.
This is mega tasty, June. Thank you. Do you want to try with the laganma?
No, I'm good.
Okay. You know it's not really spicy.
Yeah, what if there was no blame? That's right. I'm working on it. Working on it. I'm such an idealist, and it ruins me.
How much Sichuan peppercorn did you add to the beans?
Less than a teaspoon.
Okay. It's really coming out. Was I able to get foam runners this
What's
morning?
foam runners?
What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, what's foam runners, guys?
Also, why are you asking me about what I did this morning? The red stuff is laganma
Do you want some sesame
chili
oil?
oil. Yes. They're Yeezy Crocs.
LOL.
No, I'm not a hype beast in the sense of always have to jump on new trends and new releases. The clothes you see that I have, I basically just got not because they were like new. I got them because I like the style in particular, and so a lot of times they were like out of season stuff.
Aaron has said many times that he will never teach again.
Would you?
Not in that same setting. No, never. I wouldn't mind teaching cooking. But to teach kids in a very structurally rigid, tunnel visioned education system like the one that we have here, no, I don't want to do that. What would you do if you won the lottery?
Just pretty much what I do already, travel and eat. I would just travel all the time instead of some of the time.
Yeah, we love traveling, we love eating, so we probably just travel everywhere.
What additional hot sauce should I use? The eternal question. Opening up the fridge and picking out a hot sauce.
L. Cardwell. We are doing okay. The title is a bit concerning, but mainly because yesterday's live had a lot of comments saying that Aaron and I are in a toxic and codependent relationship, and so, I mean, maybe the thumbnail will get us more views, but also I just really wanted to discuss it because there's been, honestly, since the beginning of Budget Eats, a lot of comments about what Aaron and my relationship is and whether or not I should stay in it, whether or not he should stay in it, how I abuse him, how he abuses me, and it's just like,
You get two people, you get a couple on the internet and make videos about them, and inevitably people will chime in with their own pithy little observations about what they think about these strangers they never met.
So, you know, I figured it was time that we discuss as a group, as a community, if I can just discuss us in that way, what it means to have a relationship be shown on camera in a live, unedited, and whether or not these behaviors are actually toxic or codependent, and or if it's just a natural way of being with someone that we're not used to seeing people publicize. And also, this guy.
Adding some of June's homemade watermelon pickles.
don't owe anybody an explanation, but I'm more just curious because as much as I like to say it doesn't bother me, after reading the same comments for over a year, you really do begin to wonder. So I just wanted to like get a live session going where we all got to discuss these things together.
I think outsider perception rarely captures the reality of a situation. Right. This is something I've directly addressed in a previous live stream, but it's basically like the relationship of the type that has been built up. But for example, between me and June, a relationship of 10 years where we are with each other pretty much every single day, and especially during COVID, all hours of the day. The dynamic and the reality that massive amount of time has built up will never be able to be understood by like without pretty much an equal time commitment by somebody trying to understand it. And especially like tuning in through like live streams or videos or whatever, or just some moments you see between us. That is like, looking through a microscope at a painting, right? A gigantic painting with all different parts, and you're just seeing like the tiniest few pixels. And basing your, judgments on that little amount of information and that little understanding is silly.
Like, do we fight? Hell yeah. Do we get nasty? Yes. I scream at Aaron a lot. Am I a perfect human being? No. Is he a perfect human being? No.
Floral Endurance said, by the way, Aaron Stiltsville was fantastic. We had a whole fish. That's awesome.
What's Stiltsville?
The place in Miami Beach that I recommended.
Oh, cool.
You might be the first person who I've recommended a place on live stream, and you went, and that's awesome. Plus 1,000 Aaron points. Glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. I mean, Allison, your mom is right. It is nobody's business but mine. But, I talk about all of my business on these lives because I don't really hold myself to the standard of privatizing private information. I'm just like, share everything and overshare everything until everybody's not holding on to taboos anymore, And I feel like the more we talk about these things that give us shame and make us doubt ourselves, the more open we will become in terms of actually truthfully, transparently communicating with each other, not only about ourselves and our own insecurities, but about how to discuss things with other people. I mean, these things, when we first discussing them, because we're not used to discussing them, will cause a lot of conflict, like people stepping over each other in the comments, getting defensive for me, and I'm just like, not necessary. Sometimes we just gotta listen to each other and like make space for it and try to disengage from our own opinions.
How would you deal with a friend who's still a Trump supporter? What do you think?
I don't know if I could stay friends with someone who honestly supports Trump.
So you wouldn't deal with a friend who's still a Trump supporter?
Oh, somebody went to Taiwan pork chop house. Yay!
Awesome. I'm not friends in person with. I'm trying to think. I must be. What would you call a friend? Actually, yes, I am. I am friends in person with at least one Trump supporter. I'm not going to name names, but it's
Still?
our Minneapolis friend. Yes. And
I like him.
yes, there you go.
I
So
like him.
June is wrong because she is currently friends with a Trump supporter. And not, friend.
I'm wrong.
Not like friends, but she likes him and she would hang out. And we want to
What
go
does he
visit
like?
him.
What does he think about Bernie?
So I was going to get to that. So he's a little different. I don't think he's a great example of the average Trump supporter. I think the average Trump supporter in America likes.
Let's not make stereotypes. Let's just talk about him. Let's not talk about the average Trump
No,
voter.
because that's not what I would. That's not because he is very politically engaged and he likes Trump.
Oh, we got a
Or is there-
request to not talk politics. Chris, I'm sorry, buddy.
Close the tab.
Yeah, please close the tab. I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm like made of political rants now, so this is not the channel for you. You can stick to my delish stuff. I'm not allowed to talk politics on there.
The way I would deal with him is very different than how. So I was gonna say, that I'm internet friends with Trump supporters. People I've met in video games, who I still play with, and my brother and I play with, and we talk politics quite frequently. And these are the sorts of people who are way more receptive to our ideas than this Minneapolis friend I was talking about, because he is already very politically engaged and has very strong political opinions that he believes, and I would agree, are well thought out. He's more on the libertarian spectrum. The average Trump supporter in America and the normal sort of people I deal with in, like, that I meet online, are people who, like, hate PC culture, think that, you know, immigrants are taking jobs, basically all this sort of, like, right populist bullshit that Trump, you know, always talks about. And it's always also, like, that they like that Trump, you know, speaks his mind, that sort of thing. And, you know, he isn't afraid of, like, whatever the liberal elites, you know, think.
Hi, Corinne.
And those people are very receptive to left populist ideas, basically Bernie. Pretty much everybody I've met online, and specifically the people who I've had deep discussions with, like, they hate Hillary, and they hate Biden, and they hate the Democratic Party, but the one Democrat, he's actually independent now, they like, is Bernie, because he's genuine. And I think that's genuinely the approach to winning people over, is by explaining that there actually is somebody else besides Trump, who I think fake cares about you, obviously because he's a grifter and a con man, we all know that, but somebody who actually does care about you, and actually does want to put policies in place that would help improve your life.
It's too bad that the Democratic Committee can't bring themselves together to actually put forward a candidate that people would 100% wholeheartedly want to support and vote for, like Bernie. So fuck you, DNC.
There's so many Trump supporters who I've met who have said, yeah, I actually like Bernie. And so that's generally the way to approach it, is that, you know, they are completely misguided based on decades of propaganda forced into them from American culture and the American education system of socialism and communism and shit like that. So those words immediately turn them off without an understanding of what the fuck they actually mean. But if you just talk about, especially healthcare is such an easy way to, like, you know, win people over. Like, why the hell are insurance companies making billions and billions in profits that are going to shareholders when that money could be actually used to make sure that you get treated for whatever you go to a hospital for, you know, without needing to fucking, you know, go bankrupt because of it if you don't have insurance, or pay extremely high insurance premiums.
Yeah, Allison, you're right. Bernie is only a Democrat when it suits him, aka when there's a election that he's running for in our in our de facto two-party system. Let's be honest. No third party has won for presidency. So you either are a Republican or you're a Democrat if you want to win the presidency.
And
there's no way he can be an independent.
And certainly Bernie's ideas are much closer to Democratic ones than Republican ones. So honestly, if that's your problem with him, that he, like, is an independent but switches to Democrat, minor procedural non-issue, like, that's such a silly thing to be upset about. But anyways, I don't think Bernie's ever running again. He's very old. However, left populism will continue to exist. And left populism, I believe the techniques behind that are the ways to convert massive amounts of people. Basically the old working class base that the Democratic Party used to have until the shift, you know, the culture shift around the 90s when, well, it started in, like, the 60s through the 90s because of the civil rights era when, you know, post-war Democrats had the working class, they had the union jobs, they had the manufacturing jobs, and the Republicans were sort of like the party of, you know, effete inner city people, sort of flipped how it was now. And yeah, to get back to that base, the populist mass appeal base that the Democrats had, it has to be emphasizing dinner table economic issues, you know, and what actually can the government do that will help your life right now?
Allison,
not, you know, stupid culture.
I've had a lot of friends who liked Elizabeth Warren also say that Bernie's personality rubs them the wrong way, but Bernie is a man for me. He's fucking angry. We need to be fucking angry. There's nothing that you need to be stable and professional about anymore in this country. There's a lot that's wrong. People don't like to see that anger for the same reason why they don't like to see me and Aaron fight or fake fight on these live streams, because they're not used to seeing raw emotion, and it's considered unprofessional, and it's considered abnormal, and it's considered taboo. But honestly, Bernie, at his age, speaks much more eloquently and logically and passionately than Biden does. So who knows why Biden was the candidate of choice that DNC decided to throw their support behind. So I still say fuck DNC, and that's it.
It's because the Democratic Party is just as controlled by capital as the Republican Party.
Yes, obviously. They can't allow Bernie to be elected because he wouldn't be in line with the corporate-friendly policies that the Democrats need to embrace in order to continue their whatever donations, corporate support from those people who are basically our overlords.
And I worry, so many people are talking about AOC, but I worry that she's collecting. I love her too. I vote. I'm fortunate enough to be in her district. June and I are. I vote for her every time. I think she's awesome, but I worry that she's collecting so much cultural baggage now by like being associated with everything, less educated, working class white people hate, specifically PC culture. That like no matter how good and friendly her economic policies might be, and how much she actually cares about people, and
Do
wants
you
to help.
listen to Red Scare?
No, I don't. I worry that her cultural baggage is too much at this point.
What is Red Scare?
It's a podcast, a leftist podcast. Two women on it. I've like tried listening to one episode, but it was not for me.
Douglas says a podcast you listen to for 2 minutes and then never listen again. Why is that?
I don't know. A lot of podcasts are like that. Like, we have to kind of get into them.
Mm. Have you faced any anti-Asian racism in New York City? Not recently, since the reports came out.
Somebody did tell you to go back to China.
That was the Instagram comment. Do you listen to Chapo?
I do. That's the one I do listen to, yeah.
Red Scare is pro-anorexia. What's up with that?
I don't know. A lot of people hate them. I don't know why. It's just some drama and bullshit I don't need to care about at all.
My Insta is my Chinese name literally translated. It's thank 9 stars. 9 is a number. Aaron, do you like Pink Guy?
I've never heard of that. Like, Filthy Frank?
I have no idea.
Who is now, what's his name? Who's that guy?
Yeah, we just stare at our phone until we
who's-
pass out.
Who's that guy that Nez likes? Joji. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Why would that be Pink Guy?
Because Filthy Frank became Joji.
What's Filthy Frank? I don't know any of these people. I don't know who they are.
You know Joji.
Yeah, but okay.
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 So you know one of them.
All right.
Yeah, Joji and Pink Eye are the same. I never watched Filthy Frank's videos. I didn't really.
Do you listen to West Side Gun?
I don't. No, I've never heard of that.
Our friend Nez really likes Joji. I like some of his songs, but it's like too much of it is not entertaining for or like enjoyable for me anymore because he just reminds me of like a very sad, depressed Betty Wap. They all both sound drunk and crying.
Have you ever made or tried tadig?
No, we haven't. It's Persian.
Oh, okay. I'm sure I would love it if it's crispy rice related.
It is crispy rice related.
I don't know Fantagram. There's a lot of things we don't
Yes, I like some of their songs.
know. Never mind. Not we. I.
I don't listen to Chinese music.
I liked that Wow Ki Da song that got really popular.
What?
I played it for you and you hated it and told me to turn it off immediately.
Okay, well, I guess I didn't like it. I hope you guys found this live entertaining and not too triggering, although I'm sure the triggered folks already left us a long time ago. But yeah, 2 hours and a quarter of us discussing random bullshit. How is Aaron's Mandarin? It's passable.
I know the food words, that's about it.
Yes.
And that's the important words.
Bree, you're starting to spam us again with the letter Y. Here's Fred. Fred, would you like to say goodnight?
Lick, lick, lick.
Hi, Aaron.
Good night, everyone.
Say bye, Fred. Good night.